Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Black Digital Media TV. As you know, I'm Laron Barber, and I want to welcome back my wonderful co-host Gina and my wonderful niece. This is my niece tonight, Lynette Anderson. How you doing tonight, Lynette?
I'm doing well.
Good, good. Gina, how are you?
I'm doing well, Laron. Thank you.
Okay, good. Well, listen, everyone, we've been gone for a little bit longer than what we wanted to. Just had a few things that we were working out behind the scene, but we had to get those things worked out. So maybe tonight, maybe have a little one or two little things here and there, but just kind of work with us. We'll get through it, you know. So we're just glad to be back. Glad to have everyone back and just being patient with us. And so, like I said, I have my niece with me tonight. It's Lynette. She's actually she's she's an author, right? She's an author, a songwriter, worship worship leader,
Yes.
and much more. And I am so happy to have her. She's definitely a true professional. And so we're just going to give her, everyone knows what this platform is about. We're about bringing on business people and those who are doing good things in the community. And Lynette, my niece, is definitely doing some great things. And so I'm so happy to have you. And so let's get the show started. We've been late, so let's get it started. Gina?
Thanks, Laron. Well, let's do a little bit of housekeeping first. If you're watching from Facebook, you probably know the drill. You have to give StreamYard permission to show your comments. So if you're going to be posting a comment from Facebook, just simply go to streamyard.com/Facebook. StreamYard will ask you a couple of questions, and then voila, your comment will appear here. Okay? So that way we can interact, because I'm sure you're going to have some questions for our guest tonight. And like Laron said, we've been gone for a couple of weeks, but we have some really good things happening behind the scenes, and you'll hear more about that in the upcoming weeks, I'm sure. But one of the things we did talk about was, we spent all of this time promoting other people's businesses, and we have some amazing, talented members of our own family. So, here we are tonight promoting Laron's niece, Lynette Anderson, and we're going to be having a few of my own family members come on as well, because, we can't be pushing and promoting everybody else's business when we got family members with their own businesses. That just didn't seem right to us. So, Lynette, welcome. It was a pleasure meeting you. So let's get on with tonight's show.
Okay.
Yes, let's get on with it. So, like Gina, you going to start out with the first question?
Well, not necessarily a question, but Lynette, can you? I know Laron introduced you. You're a songwriter. You're an author. You are a published author, and I did request that you bring a copy of your book. So we're just going to jump to it, right? So you have it there.
Yes.
Can you go ahead and just share the cover, and maybe tell us a little bit of what inspired you to write this particular book?
Okay. So this is my first devotional book. It's called The Daily Battle Devotional. It's kind of like a 15-day devotion. A lot of people who've purchased this book tell me that they keep it in their purse or in their pocket, because it's a really good go-to type of book that you can always read. It's not like a one-time read. You can always reference to it, because the things that I talk about is the things that we go through, or that I go through, but I'm sure others go through as well on a daily basis, and what scriptures you can use and go to that can help encourage you, and help you to continue to keep moving forward into doing what it is that God wants to do in your life. So what inspired me, to be honest,
Yeah, you're okay.
I don't see you guys. I'm sorry. Okay.
No, we can see you.
Okay. So what inspired me was, it was on.
Yeah. Yeah, she might not be seeing us. No. Mm-mm. Yeah.
I think we're having some technical difficulties, so just bear with us, please.
Yeah. All the things that caused us to be late on the show anyway.
It doesn't matter how often you do these lives.
Yeah.
Technology will
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't hear
Yeah,
you.
here. I'm gonna I'm gonna push you out and then come back. Then come back in. Okay. Yeah. So let me say off and then kick. Let me say we just remove her out and then let her come back. Let her come back in. Yeah, like we said, actually, just been having a few difficulties, but we're glad to be back. Happy to be back. Got a lot of good things coming. A lot of good things behind the scene that we're working on. So we got other guests that's going to be coming on. We got some big things coming on. Big things that we're working on right now. We definitely it's going to be all about community, businesses, and so we're excited. So we're just trying to hold off from just giving all the details of it right now.
Yeah.
But we got a lot. We got a lot coming. Anything, Gina?
No, I'm just excited to bring Lynette back in.
I know. Oh, she's coming back through.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
So we were asking you what inspired you to write the devotional. Yeah.
Yes. So I was on a spring break trip with my kids. It had to be about almost 3 years ago. And I like to have time where I kind of get away and spend time with God. So it's like a long time. And I remember sitting on the bench. We were at the Nickelodeon Hotel, and I was sitting on one of the benches, and I was reading my devotion, just spending time with God. And then all of a sudden, he spoke to me about writing a book. And I'm literally having a conversation with God, like, God, no. Like, me? I sing. I don't write. And I'm like, my grammar isn't good. No, that's not for me. But it was like a continued push. And so right then and there, I picked up my phone and I just began to write some things down. But it was like he was giving me everything I needed to write. And over the next 2 years, I kept adding to it. I kept adding to it and adding to it. And I was inspired because there are a lot of things that I deal with as a Christian. And sometimes people feel like because we are Christians or we choose to live for the Lord, that our lives are perfect, that we don't mess up or that we don't have struggles. And I have struggles. I have imperfections. And I'm not perfect. And so I don't ever want to come across or portray to being someone just because I'm a Christian, I do everything right. No, I don't. I have some jacked up ways, and the Bible tells us we're just as filthy rags. No, nobody is perfect, but people, because of what you do, they put you on a high pedestal. And so I got kind of tired of always feeling like I had to be this perfect individual because I'm an artist or because I'm a worship leader. And I'm like, no, I'm not perfect. I have weaknesses, struggles, things I battle with, things I don't get right. And so this book talks about all those things, my struggles, the things I deal with. It talks about when I almost died. It talked about my fear and anxiety from almost dying. It talks about me feeling like I'm not good enough when it comes to leading because I feel like I don't have voices like other artists. So we tend to compare ourselves amongst each other. And the Bible tells you shouldn't do that either, but we're human. So we actually battle with those things. Negative talk, downing yourself. I deal with that. So it talks about a lot of things I struggle with, and people wouldn't think that because of where I'm at in life. But in all actuality, I have some struggles. And so I just say, you know what? I'm going to be obedient. I'm going to write about it. And hopefully it can be a blessing. And so far, it has been a blessing to people. Like people's like, I carry this with me, Lynette, and it's like, wow, like I can do something so amazing that I could be a blessing to someone else. So that's kind of like what it's inspired me to do it. And I'm grateful. I'm really
So
grateful.
Lynette, you say that you carry that and people talk to you about that.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have any special stories, one special story that someone maybe have shared with you about your book or your music, how it inspired them? What's the one story that you have that you do remember?
I do know a young lady, a friend of mine. She lives in Georgia. And she is one of the ones that she told me, she didn't tell me which specific chapter or devotion, shall I say, that helped her the most. But what she did tell me, she said that, Lynette, I'm so proud of you. She was like, I keep this book on my desk at work and I reference to it every day. So for me, that was a blessing that I could write something because, technically, I feel like we all should read the word every day. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a blessing to know that God allowed me to do something and someone referenced to it every day. Like she can go to it and be like, what I'm dealing with today, battling disobedience, you know what I mean? Like whatever. So that really blessed me to know that she can reference to it, on a daily basis.
Well, I want to go back to something you said earlier because I'm always intrigued by this. And if you're comfortable speaking about it, I would love for you to share. When you mentioned that you nearly died, could you possibly speak about that for a minute? Here's why. Because I have my own personal experience having a near-death experience, like 3 times. I think
Wow.
it's 3 of them. 3. So I'm always intrigued whenever I hear people talking about that because I'd love to hear your story. And I'm sure that I remember the first time I spoke about it because I had it was such an intense experience for me. And what happened, my whole journey, I was a huge skeptic prior to that. So when I actually experienced it myself, it was such an intense experience. And it took me, I think, about 10 years before I told anyone. The only person who knew at the time was my doctor, the surgeon who had operated on me. He was the only person who I really told everything, every detail to. But since I started sharing with other people, then I've heard other people saying, I've had this as well happen to me. So that part kind of hit me just now. So could you share a little bit, please?
Sure. So back in 2010, I had my son, Caden. That's my 11-year-old now. And I had a pretty decent pregnancy. Maybe a week after I had him, I developed a severe headache and I got pneumonia and all that kind of stuff. I told my mom them. I took myself to the doctor. They gave me medicine for pneumonia, told you go home and rest. So I did that. Got through that pneumonia, but the headache, it wouldn't go away. And so I was taking all kinds of pain medicine, like narcotics, and it just wouldn't go away. And I noticed my feet was swollen. And I was telling my mom, I was like, Mom, I don't feel good. I can't get rid of the headache. She was like, you'll be fine. You just had a baby. But I think it's very important that people who know their body listens to their bodies. People can tell you, you're all right, everything's fine, but you know your own body. So I woke up the next morning with the same headache and I said to myself, I know something's not right. So I took myself to the urgent care and got there. They did like an x-ray to check and see if I had like a sinus infection or whatever. They could not find anything wrong. So they said, if I were you, I would go to the emergency room right away. So as soon as I went to the emergency room, they checked my blood pressure. It was like 200 over 110. And I remember just holding my head and telling them that, please, if you could please just help me, something's wrong here. Just please. I kept expressing that if you can please just help me because I knew something was wrong. So they wheeled me to the back because my blood pressure was so high. I remember sitting on the edge of the bed and that was the last thing I remembered. And then next thing you know, I woke up to my mom crying and saying that she was just saying, I don't know what's going on. You had a massive seizure. It was 9 people in here holding you down. And I was like, well, Mommy, what happened? What happened? And she was like, we don't know what's wrong with you. Like they couldn't figure out what was going on, so I remember being in ICU. I remember because I was in and out of consciousness all the time. I think they did like an angiogram to see if I had a brain aneurysm. They did a bunch of tests and finally they figured out that I had a blood vessel that busted in the back of my head that pretty much I had a brain bleed. It's called a subarachnoid brain hemorrhage. And I was in intensive care. Most people do not survive subarachnoid brain hemorrhages.
Wow.
So that's what happened to me. And so I was in ICU for 3 days. And then after that, um, they sent me home and told me that it wasn't because I had a baby and that it would never happen again. And then I went home. I was still extremely sick. So I took myself to a different hospital. They seen me and they diagnosed me with eclampsia. So not but eclampsia, which is the rare, the deadly one, the ones that women used to get back in the day and pass away, and doctors didn't know, pretty much why they died. So once they figured out what was wrong with me, I was put on magnesium. And once that got into my system, I began to feel 100% better. But I was in ICU 3 days at one hospital and then ICU at the other hospital for 5 days. I lost so much weight. And a lot of people was surprised, like I was some kind of miracle, because they was like, most people don't survive a brain bleed. So that was my near-death experience. Once that happened, I developed extreme anxiety, panic attacks. And I talk about it in the devotional. That's actually one of the first devotions that talks about fear and anxiety. And I talk about my experience of what happened to me. And it really changed my life, because I was at every hospital all the time, just thinking I was going to die all the time. So it was pretty horrible. It was pretty horrible.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned two things that I wanted to kind of put emphasis on. One is, you mentioned we know our bodies, and that is so true. Yes. That is so true, because the very first near-death experience I had occurred after I delivered my daughter. Wow. And 2 weeks later was when I had it, when they finally figured out that all of the complaints I had throughout the entire pregnancy, they found it 2 weeks after I delivered. And wow. I won't go into any detail because that's not, what tonight is about. But yes, you have to know your body. And I told my doctor, I said, there is something wrong. Right. There is when you know your body, you can tell them, you're not going to stop until you figure out what is wrong with me. Yeah. The next thing was, you mentioned magnesium. That is something I talk about a lot, because years ago I was diagnosed with lupus. And magnesium is one of the things I work with on a daily basis, whether I am taking magnesium tablets or I'm doing an Epsom salt bath soak, but magnesium is so important on so many levels, and people don't realize it. Even I even have my youngest son doing regular Epsom salt soaks, because he happens to have the sickle cell trait and periodically has crises, right? And we found out that the magnesium is so helpful. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure that if anybody's listening, magnesium, yeah. And definitely know your body. I would love to have you back on another episode with another one of our team members named Eugenia, where we talk about stuff like this as women, because a lot of women will go and the doctors will say, well, no, there's nothing wrong with you. You're probably just experiencing anxiety or just a stress moment. Go home, take a pill, and you'll be fine. Right. They throw it on. When you're consistent. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So that's a whole other episode. Oh. Laurent, do you have any questions? Because I could go on once we make a connection.
Can you hear me okay? It seems like I'm frozen on this end. Can you hear me?
No, yeah, I can hear you okay. Yes.
Yeah. So Lynette, let's just talk about have you any upcoming events, as far as because I know you get a lot of requests for your singing services. Do you have anything that's coming up on the horizon that you've had any special requests?
I actually just had something just this past weekend. I was out in Tampa, had a concert there, which went very, very well. I don't have anything upcoming right now, but I'm sure eventually, people sometimes kind of reach out to you at the last minute. I've experienced being an artist, that when you're an artist like me, upcoming and not as known, you don't get booked as often. So it's kind of like a journey, and it takes time. But I'm sure eventually, as time goes by and my name gets out there more, get well known, things will pick up and I will, get to do more. Well, more opportunities will open up, more doors.
So what's your social media? Share with the viewers where they can find you.
So you can find my music on, you can go to so I have a Facebook, Lynette Anderson. And I have my regular Facebook, and then I have my artist page. It says Lynette Anderson and then artist. And then if you want to reach me on my IG, it's Lynette Anderson Music. And then I also have a website. You can go to my website, and on that website, you can find different things that's going on. It's www.LynetteAndersonmusic.com. Also, you can find my music on all digital outlets. You can find my book on all outlets where books are sold. Walmart, Books A Million, Amazon. I always encourage people to go to Amazon because I wanted to become the Amazon bestseller, but I didn't make it, but it's okay. Also the book here is in Kindle form. So that's the book because it's cheaper with the Kindle, and you can read it on your phone. So you don't necessarily have to have the hard copy if you're not a person that do hard copies.
I always encourage people to buy the hard copy though, because since it's a devotional, I love to write in them. So I always encourage people to just go ahead and just buy the hard copy. Yeah, I mean, it's only a few dollars more. So
I prefer the hard copy. I've had some people say they don't do hard copy because they don't got, I don't know, technology has taken away the feel for things, but
yeah,
I definitely recommend the daily battle devotional. I believe that it is a blessing. I believe that many people can benefit from it because it talks about real life situations, and for me, it talks about not having to be or pretending to be something that you're not, because I'm a realist and I'm transparent. And I find that ministry for me is better because I'm transparent and a realist. So that's kind of how I flow.
Well, I always like for people to share how, certain things came about, because I know there's always a story behind it and people connect with your story. So that's why I always encourage people to share, how you got, like you shared the near-death experience. So I know a lot of that brought up the anxiety portion of it. And when I was first diagnosed with lupus many years ago, that's one of the things I experienced was anxiety and depression.
Mm-hmm.
And when people hear, because right now I can speak a lot about this, and I've gone through a lot of healing.
Mm-hmm.
So I can share from a healed space, but I can also share from actually having been there.
Mm-hmm.
And people like to see that. And when they're purchasing something from someone, they like to know the story behind everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I always encourage people to share on that. There was something that I did find on your Instagram, and I wanted to bring that up. You said, if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. And you have an acronym called PUSH.
Right.
Purposefully, unselfishly serving him. And that, the minute I opened up your Instagram and I was scrolling through, that really caught my attention.
Right.
So,
yes.
So can you go ahead?
The push, purposely, unselfishly serving him. It just pretty much means that you're purposefully going to do what it is that God has called you to do. You're going to put forth effort. And then like unselfishly, meaning no matter what, like you're going to always be willing to serve. Always. At a drop of a dime. Like it's not about you. What we do for him, and as we're like a blessing to others, it's not about us. We have to take self out of it. Okay, so that's purposely, unselfishly, and serving, meaning always be a servant. I'm a willing vessel. Mm-hmm. I'm a willing vessel. So that's kind of like what the acronym is kind of talking about. It's a really good acronym. A lot of people, because I think PUSH stands for something else. And so like sometimes when I would put it on my Facebook or Instagram, people would think it stands for another acronym. I don't remember what it is, but I was like, no, this is something that I encourage people to do, to push no matter what, push, keep doing what it is that God has called you to do no matter what. And then I with those acronyms that follow behind it. Like for me, I'm going to serve God. I'm going to purpose
And
forth and do what he's called me to do on purpose.
and the one thing that I realize is you can't, no matter how old you get, you can't run from God or whatever his purpose is for you. Because I remember years ago, and I must have been about 17 or 18 when I made a trip to Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember someone, when I got back, someone mentioned that I should have become, at the time it was mentioned like a youth leader or a youth pastor. I thought there is no way I'm not a pastor. No, just no. But now, actually, and Laron and I have spoken about this. In a few weeks, I'm actually going to be one of the leaders of our retreat that's coming up.
Oh wow!
And this was something that kind of dropped in my spirit. Maybe I want to say maybe 8 years ago, and then I thought, no, I don't see myself doing that. Maybe, I don't know. And then the opportunity is here. And it was one of those, okay, this has got to be like one of those God moments, because there's no way that I could have possibly put this together and having all the right people come. So even though I was like saying, yeah, no.
You can't run from a calling. You can't run from
right.
If he called you to it, he's gonna get you through it. And so you can't run from it, no matter what. Even me, I think about how he's opened so many doors, and I'm like, I'm so unworthy. You trying to do for me right now. But if you got a calling on your life, there's like God has a purpose for you. He's using you for some reason. No matter what it is, he's gonna, because his purpose has to prevail. That's what people have to understand. His purpose has to prevail. So regardless, as long as you're a willing vessel, you know.
Well, you know, Lynette, I'm glad you mentioned that part as far as being, you know, because on your when we did your photo, your shirt, it says chosen.
Yeah.
So what you just said, what does that mean? Why did you come up with that? And when you feel that, is that part of why you felt that this is your purpose? Is that how you came up with the chosen word? I like that picture. That's a very sharp picture how you did that. So how did that come up? That chosen. Speak to that.
I feel like God has chosen me because through all my experiences and a lot of things that I've dealt with and battled with, I get confused of why he want to use me. You know, I just don't feel worthy enough to be used by him. So I'm like, I gotta be chosen, because from all the things that I've experienced, the unwillingness sometimes that I have to be obedient, things that I choose not to sacrifice because I don't want to, you know what I mean? In all honesty, it's like, well, why you still want to use me? Because I'm imperfect. And I think he wants to use me because I'm always willing. I always try to remove myself out of the way and remember that what I'm doing is not about me, but it's about God, and it's about winning souls to the kingdom of God. So I'm still a work in progress. He works on me every day. I deal with stuff all the time. And I just always have this open conversation with God. I have a good personal relationship with him where I can talk to him about anything, whether I am mad, sad, confused. And I talk to him like I'm talking to you guys. So if I'm having a moment where I'm just frustrated, ain't no telling what I'm gonna say to him, but I'm talking to him. I'm like, you know what, God, you know, I have that relationship, and I'm glad that I've developed that. So I can always go to him no matter what. And that's why I love also worship, because worship to me is a place where it's like me and God alone. Sometimes when I'm singing, yes, I might be singing out to an audience of people, but at that very moment, it's just me and him, and I'm talking to him. I'm pleading to him. We have that kind of communication. So it's very, very important to me. Very important.
Well, one of the things, because you mentioned, why would God choose you? And if you look in the Bible, every person that God chose to do anything for him, they weren't perfect people.
Right.
No. So, you know, he's not going to choose the perfect people who've never been through something, because if you've never been through something, you don't really have anything to share. I mean, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but it's just like,
Right.
if you're going to if you want to lead, there's going to be a story that people connect to.
Right.
You know, and everybody in the Bible had an excuse for why God shouldn't choose them. You know, was it Moses? Was it that? Well, anyway, I don't remember exactly now. But Moses didn't want to go to Egypt because he claimed he couldn't talk because he was a stutterer, right?
Right.
We had Jonah, who didn't want to go to. He was supposed to go to Nineveh, Nineveh, depending on how you pronounce it. But he decided he was going to run, and look what happened to him. He got swallowed up by the big fish or whale, and got right. So there isn't David. I mean, look what David did. He was like, you know, if we look at him now as being like the perfect human being back in the Bible, but David had issues.
Yes.
So there's not a perfect person that God has chosen to do his calling.
Correct.
So, you know, you're mentioning, why did God choose you? He chose you because you were the perfect, imperfect person for what he called you to do. And like everyone else, yeah. Because to me, he didn't call the perfect. That's called, you know.
And he knew you would obey him. And, you know, one of the things I'm looking at, because I'm kind of looking at one of your picture also, it shows that your items are on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and then Walmart. What was that process like? I mean, if anybody wants to do something like that, could you share? Maybe some people might think, wow, is this a hard process to do this? But you allowed yourself to be used, but you went through these channels to do that. What, was that a hard process? What would you?
It's not that it's a hard process. It just, you got to have money. I sacrificed. It costs money to do it, and not a little bit of money. So this project alone cost me a good penny. Okay. And the project, getting it on Amazon and Books A Million. I have a publishing company that I go through. They're called MT Publishing. Out of Gainesville, Florida. Amazing women, Kendra Auberry and Victoria Holmes. They own that company, and they're amazing. The package included the editing of my book, the photo shoots, the publishing of my book, getting it out to all outlets, pretty much everything I needed. It was like a full package, but it costs. So the process of it is have your money saved up if you want to do something.
It's an investment. That's what, you know, I like to change the types of words that we use around money. So it was an investment.
Yeah.
Not rather than a sacrifice, it's an investment. Yeah, there, and it does involve that. Yeah.
The same thing with my music. I invest in that too. Same thing. You know, it costs me to make a CD or release one single. So yeah.
So what kind of singles or what kind of things do you have? Do you have some things that you're working on now that's coming out? Talk about some of those things, huh?
So I have a EP of 5 songs, which is like an album that I'm working on. One thing about me is I don't rush the process. So I kind of just started working on it. It might take me a year or so to complete it because it's a lot of songs. I mean, it's 5 songs. But I'm excited about it because it'll be my first album.
Wow.
And I'm going through a lot of stuff in life now. And so I'm hoping that I can be a blessing when it's released. But I am working on an album, so I'm excited.
Do you have any, are you working on any other books or anything like that? Any other devotionals that's coming on, or where are you at on that?
I haven't started working on another book yet, just because publishers think it's good that I just kind of like try to continue to push this book. It's still very, very new. It just came out January. So I'm trying to work on pushing this devotional so that I can get known as an artist. Not an artist, I'm an artist, but known as an author as well. So I'm going to spend a little bit more time on this. And also when it comes to writing, God gave me this, just like God gives me songs. So I'm not one of those traditional people where I'm always writing. I jot down like devotional stuff, but that's like if I'm like having a conversation with him, like kind of like that. But to like sit down and say, "Oh, I'm about to write another book, or I'm about to write another song." That's kind of not how it works for me. God, like, He talks to me, and He gives me it when He needs to give it to me, and then that's kind of how I come up with music and come up with books. So I'm sure He'll give it to me again when the time is right. But at this very moment, I'm focused on pushing the Daily Battle devotional, and I'm pushing my new single, "You're the One," that is out, just came out recently. And I'm also still pushing my last single, which is, to me, doing even better than the new single. I mean, I think they both are kind of doing very well. So I'm pushing that while I'm working on my project.
Do you have one of the first CDs that you? What is that CD about? What is that video about?
Rescue Me.
Yeah, Rescue Me. What? Talk about that. What does that? What does that mean? What is it? What inspired you to do that?
Because I was
That's a nice video. That is a very
dealing
good video.
with my struggles, my weaknesses, my desires. And sometimes I put myself in situations because of what I desire. And then like I can't seem to get myself out of it. So then I'm stuck in a hard place. And the only person that can get me out of it is God. So that's where Rescue Me came from. I was in church one Sunday. It was Bible study, and I was through dealing with my issues. And I was just telling God, at this very moment, you're going to have to rescue me, because clearly I'm not strong enough to do it. So the lyrics came, "Rescue me from everything that's trying to hinder me. I'm no angel, but I believe this is not the life that you willed for me. Lord, please come and rescue me." So that's kind of like I needed some help.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll tell everyone that's out there, you got to tell them how to get that video or that CD or that music, because I'm telling everyone, when
You,
you hear this song and you see this video, you're
yeah,
going to see she is definitely a true professional.
yeah,
She has an amazing voice. She has an amazing voice. I must say, we have some amazing singers in our family. We
yeah.
do have that.
We do.
And
Yeah,
I told Gina, I says, my niece, she has a sister that can sing. My sister can sing too, and Gina says, no, don't talk about all of them. This is going to be Lynette moment. Just let it be about her.
got a
But
lot of.
yeah, just tell everybody how they can download your music and what. Yeah, I know we was just talking. You on like radio stations as well too.
Yeah, so certain people play my music. I'm not sure all of the radio stations. I do know there's a radio station I think it's in South Carolina, that play my music. Um, I don't know all the names. It's all on my IG page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can just
Music on YouTube. The videos on YouTube. They can go to all digital outlets like iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Heart Radio, um, all of them. It's so many of them, you guys. It's so many, but I paid for it to be on all outlets, so you can get it pretty much from anywhere. You can even like speak it, um, Shazam, I think.
Mhm.
You can speak it and it'll come up or whatever. So it's pretty much everything.
Yeah, I know.
well,
Go
we'd
ahead,
like
Gina.
to invite you back whenever you're launching your album. Maybe
Yes,
you can come
absolutely.
and launch it here
I
with
will.
us. That would be, and then maybe perform.
Yes,
Or,
yes.
Well, we was gonna have a performance tonight, but that's okay.
Not
We'll say it's worth waiting for. That's for sure.
yes,
But
yes.
definitely, and a lot of people come on this show, Lynette. They have books,
Hmm.
they things, and then once they have this come on the show, they talk about how their book sales increase
Hmm.
after being on this show.
Hmm.
So definitely, the word will be getting out, and so definitely,
Okay.
I'm excited for you. I'm so excited for you. Proud of you. You
Grateful.
know. So how do you does your what does your kids say to you? Say, Mom, do you inspire them? How does that go? Because you're out there, you're busy. So how do you see if that is that inspiring and affecting your kids and inspiring them? If so, how?
I believe so, because as a single mom of three children, you know, they see that life isn't easy. And just the fact that I work so hard, I fall on my face a lot, but I always get back up and I continue to push and I never give up. that definitely inspires the kids, because it's like my daughter, oldest daughter, my 15-year-old, she admires me. And she's proud of me. My son and my daughter, they're kind of like, oh, my little daughter, my 6-year-old, they're just always like, mommy, you have a beautiful voice, or, mommy, are you going to go sing? Like, they always know I'm doing something when it comes to music or writing or something. Like, they're watching everything that I'm doing, and I know that because of what I'm doing, it's going to pave the way for them. So I think they're proud of me. I think they're happy that I'm doing all of this and I don't give up.
Yeah.
No matter what. They see me cry all the time. They know that this isn't easy. It isn't. It really isn't.
And that's one thing I and that's one thing I have to say about you. That's one thing I really appreciate about you. You're always trying, you're always striving, you always keep a positive, attitude around you. What else? What is there anything else that you do besides sing? What else does Lynette do? What else do you want other people to know about you?
Well, besides that, I do have a full-time job. I'm a certified dental assistant. I've been doing that for about 17 years. And I used to want to try to go to school to be like a hygienist or a dentist. But with the music and being that that's my heart, I desire to be like a worship leader, worship pastor. Like, that would be a blessing if God will one day open that door for me. I know I'm probably not to that place yet, but it's a desire. But outside of my music and being a mommy and stuff, I am a dental assistant. Yeah, and I do hair. I sell jewelry.
Yes. Yeah.
I have a lot of jobs.
She's an amazing hairdresser, people. She is
A
one
lot of these
amazing hairdresser. Yeah.
gifts and talents that God has given me to make finances, to make ends meet. Again, I am a single mom with 3 children.
And that's how my niece is, and that's what I love about her. She's such an inspiration. She is always keep chugging. She's going. She doesn't stop. And that's why I asked to talk about that, because I know you, a good inspiration to your kids and to your family and to those that just have you in their life. So I just wanted to make sure I definitely say that to you. I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of you. And I want to ask you this one question though. As far as being your singing, did you ever take singing lessons?
I never took singing lessons until I started taking my career seriously. So I recently started seeing like a vocal coach, but COVID happened when I started. So we were doing it online, but it's hard to do vocal lessons on the Zoom. Like, I don't really like it. So I did begin vocal lessons with her just to strengthen my voice and to help me, because I'm still learning how to use this instrument. Being that I'm doing it at a professional level now. Before it was like, I'm in church, I'm just singing, I don't know much about music and how, like, there's a theory to music. I know I just can sing, but it's a lot more than what I think. Excuse my kids in the background.
That's okay.
But yes, for a little bit I started, and I want to start back because it helps strengthen my vocal cords and my voice. So it's really good to take it. No, it doesn't matter what singer or who you are. Every singer has.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, there you go.
I'm sorry. Somebody's calling my phone, and every time it does that,
yeah.
But yes.
So do you recommend anybody that wants to get into the singing career? I know I used to be a singer in the church choir, and people tell me I can sing, but we'll leave that there. But anyways, I was very fortunate that one of the guys, we have two guys that was in the singing group with me. They were professionals. And one of the things they told me to do, they said, LeRon, we want you to listen for your voice. I said, well, I don't know how to listen for my voice. They said, this is what you do. Take one finger and close up one ear.
Yeah.
And I was so shocked at what that did. Is that a normal technique that people do, or what is that?
When we're trying to hear ourselves and not everybody else.
Right.
or like if you're singing and the music is super loud and you can't tell if you're on right key or pitch, you could like plug one ear. Like me plugging my ear now, I can hear my voice clear. You know what I mean? But without it being plugged, it's not as clear. So it helps, you know.
So one thing they talked to me about too is breathing. When you're singing, it's very important that you learn how to breathe. A lot of people just think they sing from here, but just speak to that, you know, because I didn't realize, you know what? I used to think I could not sing until the guy taught me how to breathe and listen to myself. Then I realized, wow, I can sing, but just kind of speak to that because you're a professional and so just kind of speak to anyone that probably wants to get into it. Just some of the basic things that they want to do. What's the importance of learning how to breathe?
It's very important to learn how to breathe, but it's very hard. And I say that because I'm still learning. I'm still learning to control my breathing. It is not easy. I've only been singing professional for about 3 years now. And I'm still learning. I have to first of all, it takes time and patience. And I just feel like if I did this full time, I could invest more into it. But I do a lot of stuff. And this is not a full-time job for me. That's what I'm working towards. But I would say that if you are able to do singing, or if that's something you want to do professionally, learning how to breathe and to control your voice and your vocal and your like all of that is very, very important, because that is what's going to give you longevity with your voice. So I am still learning, Uncle. Still learning.
Gina.
Yeah, can't hear her.
Yeah, you can't hear you. Yeah. All right. Well, while Gina's trying to fix her her video and audio like that, we still can't hear you.
Are we good now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
I think you muted me accidentally.
Well, you always do it to me on live shows, so you know.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, she got muted again.
Yeah, we still can't hear you. Yeah.
I can hear you now, I think.
Yeah.
Oh no, it went out again.
Yeah, but that's okay. We'll let her come back in. We still can't hear you, Gina.
So can't hear me?
Yeah. I can hear
okay.
you now, yes.
Ready? Okay. No, when it comes to breathing, just regular breathing is really important, and a lot of us don't really do it the correct way. We walk around and we take these really shallow breaths, rather than a deep breath where our chest fills up. So yeah, it's really important to singing, but even on a daily basis, we're not breathing properly. Right. And that's one of the things I realized many years ago when I was just learning how to, because I had to do vocal lessons when I was studying piano, and that's one of the things that they taught us. But then several years ago, when I was diagnosed with mild emphysema, I realized just how important taking deep breaths were, because it's not an issue now, but back then it was. When you're trying to take a deep breath and your lungs hurt, you don't want to inhale all of that air, right? So you take these really shallow breaths, and that's not good because you're not getting enough oxygen into your body. Right. So even just for regular breathing, people really need to understand that taking deep breaths is really essential. Right. It is.
So is that why Lynette, when you're singing, you always take a nice, good, deep breath. Yeah. So you're a professional, so I'm one of them church good singers. You professional, so is that what they teach you in school?
Well, I didn't go to music school, but I do know that since I've been singing professionally, it's important to work on your breathing. And again, I'm still working on it. So I'm still not good at it, just to be honest. It's I got to keep doing this for a long period of time. And being that I just started, I'm still working on it. Sorry, the kids.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. We understand.
Yeah. So you know what, Gina, anything else? So Lynette, let's just go over once again before we leave. where everyone can find your music. Just kind of speak to that.
You can find my music on all digital outlets, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Heart Radio, and pretty much any platform. You can get my book on Amazon, Books a Million, Walmart, anywhere books are sold, my book is there. It's also online, Kindle version. So if they want to do online, they can do it. But yeah, that's how you can find me, or you can look for me on my Facebook, Lynette Anderson. Lynette Anderson, just my name, or Lynette Anderson Artist for the Facebook artist page, or you can go to my IG at Lynette Anderson Music. So that is how you can find me, or you can see my website, which is www.lynetteandersonmusic.com.
Perfect.
Gina?
And we'll make sure that we put those links in the comment section on Facebook, so that you guys can find those as well. At the end of this, don't go anywhere, Lynette, because I do want to talk to you about an opportunity. Something I would love to do with you and another one of our team members, which I think will be amazing. So I'm pretty sure Lynette is going to say yes. So look for that upcoming episode. It may not necessarily be like right away, everyone who's watching, but I think this would be a really good discussion with you, me, and Eugenia. We won't reveal what the topic is going to be yet, but you hinted at something, and I thought, yes, this would be a great episode. So don't go anywhere just yet. But for those of you who are watching, if you have any questions at all, the discussion doesn't end when we end the live. I mean, the video is always going to be there. So if you have questions while you're watching the replay, simply put down #replay so we know that you caught the replay, and then just post your questions, and one of us will get back to you. Lynette will be tagged in it, so she will know how to connect with you and to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay.
And definitely, I'd just like to say to everyone out there, thank you for being patient with us. We are back now, but definitely please like, share, subscribe, share the information, and just help get us pass the word, get those algorithms up, because you never know when you're on the show, you want to get a lot of people on. So help us do that right now. So when you're on, we got that viewership up. So definitely we appreciate everyone and your time, and just want to say thank you. Thank you, Lynette.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I'm so proud of you.
Lynette. Yes.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
And just keep being that inspiration that I know you are. Thank you so much. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Take care, everyone.